Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Happy Tuesday to you. We're taking a look here again at Bitcoin, see what's going on. The important stuff we want to look at here today is potential for A, retracement, and B, continuation. What's going to happen next here. The expectation is the price continues to go up until it doesn't. However, generally speaking, we swept a majority of that liquidation from yesterday. See if I can pull up our chart here and kind of see it was a pretty strong amount of liquidation at roughly about 108,000. So this little guy right here, this red one, that is 108K. We'll take another look at that here today, but generally speaking here, the expectation is that Bitcoin's going to continue going higher. But now that we've hit that level, there's possibilities we might see the price retrace to local fib levels and or local highs. Okay, so that's just kind of how that's supposed to work. Let's take a quick look here though. Let's go ahead and highlight a couple of important factors here. Let's take a look at liquidation first, recognizing that 108,000, there's that 1.5, 2.5, basically there's billions of dollars getting liquidated here at about the 108K range. So most of that has been swept, and what do you know? Late shorts at 110 to 111. Okay, so not saying we're gonna necessarily see that right away, but just know as people continue to short, the more likelihood the price continues in that direction. It's almost as if they don't learn. It's kind of funny to me, but again, I find humor in different things. Maybe you might might think that's funny, but the whole concept of liquidation is to just get some general consensus on where people are hedged the most, and essentially areas of interest for the whales, because the whales will push the price to these levels. Because once they wipe out all opposition, then they can move the price however they see fit, right? They just set a lot of small limit orders with large position size, and it keeps going in that direction. Anyways, as you can see here, 1083 was that upper level liquidation there that's fully swept. So any deep red bars here or heavy concentrations is pretty much obliterated. Obviously, there are some, little $2 or $3 billion ranges here and there, but for the most part, these big chunks, these $6 to $10 billion blocks are totally wiped out. So again, congrats to the market makers for that. And at this point, the question is, do you short or do you take it long? Well, me personally, I don't really like to do either in situations like this, especially when the market is so janky. And what I mean by that is when Bitcoin continues higher like it has, and most altcoins are kind of like suffering for the most part, while there's a few blue chips here that are doing pretty well, for the most part, we can see alts are damaged pretty heavy right now. And that's kind of weird, right? You would expect everything to be pumping when Bitcoin is at 100,000 plus, but it's not that case right now. So we're going to talk about that and what that means here too. Anyways, liquidation long delta is starting to grow. This does imply you don't want to short against it because there's a lot of buying pressure, but also tells us that we can only maintain this price point for so long before it pulls back. Now we've seen 20, 30, almost 40 billion in the liquidation delta before when we shot from the 60K to the 90K range. But again, that was a different phenomenon altogether. I don't think we're going to see 120, 130s just yet. But I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. Just this market never ceases to amaze me. Anyways, when we take a look here at open interest, we can kind of see that there's the most amount of open interest we have locally is at 105.2. So that $105,000 range is quite a large amount of positions being purchased at that level. So that kind of implies that the price pulls back to that range. We have some support at 105. So I would venture to guess that retracement to the 105K range makes sense. That puts us right here at this 0.236 fib level. So hypothetically, we do one of these here and bounce. Okay. Now again, we would lose our ascending trend line there potentially, or more important, we'd be testing the 20-day SMA. That's something we want to talk about here, but let's start with the daily first and work our way down. Quickly to note here, we're over all moving averages. Everything's truly bullish. We're now officially over 70 in the RSI. While it's not a clean break, kind of just letting us know that we're testing a resistance range, or we're starting to slow down. Both are effectively the same thing. We can see here MACD is converging, which is super awesome. Generally construed as a positive sign that we should expect further upside because there's good momentum. Now, me personally, I don't take trades based on MACD personally, but I use it as a good weighing factor to kind of help influence my trades, depending on where we're at on the time frames. But the daily time frame, the daily MACD, that just kind of lets us know that we're officially bullish now, and that it's a good sign. But it doesn't mean that you just take it long right now with high leverage. Okay, again, macro perspective is exactly that. It's a big picture. It doesn't tell us right now that the price is going to go up or down immediately. Okay. Excuse me. The 4-hour time frame is pretty good about that. So taking a look here at the 4-hour time frame, we can kind of understand that we're respecting our trend line here. So taking a short into this doesn't make a ton of sense. We can see that the 20-day SMA is running concurrent with that trend line there. You could even draw the trend line out further. A lot of times I will align my trend line with the 20-day SMA. So we could kind of do that. I'll clean up our charts here and post a playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, Discord. But generally speaking, that's what I'm looking at here as a rough estimate for the trend that we're in right now. So until we break below that trend, we have no reason to consider shorting. And even at that point, when it does break below 20, it doesn't mean you just short into it too, because there's multiple times when you see the price drop below 20 and instantly recover. What I'm getting at is we're on the right side of tracks here, considering more so that the price is going to go up or sideways moving forward instead of pulling back. Not to say it can't still pull back, and it probably will, but the general consensus here is that we don't want to trade against it. Okay, we're right here at the 70 in the RSI, stochastic swinging down, money flow index is right there with it, so everything's looking pretty solid here in the overall sense. While it is, some might say it's concerning that those are pulling back, they're just kind of cooling off as the price goes sideways. That allows for us to leg up again soon, because as the RSI tapers off, people start to feel like it's a good value. That's why bullish rectangles, like we saw here in the recent past, work out pretty well, because people's perception starts to change, like, oh, great, I better get in here before it's too late and the price goes up, right? We're starting to see a similar scenario here with a potential resistance shelf here at about 106.8, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that in red. And once again, I'll post a new playout chart here soon, but that appears to be a somewhat of a resistance range. So we got our support at 103.6, our resistance at 106.8. We may be range bound in that area for a little while. And then again, our local point of control based on open interest is roughly 105. So easy numbers to remember, 103,000, 105, and let's just round up and say 107. Okay. Again, those are just some round numbers for you, but generally speaking, every 2,000, we're seeing some areas of support starting to accumulate. Take a look at the hourly here. We're confirming here as well on every single factor, letting us know that taking a long is much more viable than taking a short. Now, does it feel weird to take a long at 107,000? Absolutely. But it also felt weird taking a long at 99,700 or 99.6 or 5. I forget the specific round number there. And we secured over 40% profit on our trade from last week. So again, for the most part, it is odd, it is kind of strange, but you go with the grain. And at this point, the scenario is moving up, and there's no other way around it. We're above the cloud, lag and span is free and clear temporarily, and then of course, conversion line and the baseline are getting closer. So there's no doubt that this little momentous trend is slowing its roll, which is perfectly sensible considering how well it's done in the recent past. So me personally, I would say just that the charts are telling us that we're more likely to see further upside than downside. Now, is it going to be a monumental push to 110 to 120? No, but there is distinct possibilities as people continue to short, which is just ridiculous in my opinion. 110 to 111,000 is roughly that area there. Okay, so just say 110 to 111 would be that next area of concentration, just like we saw here recently at 108. But now that that's been swept, folks, it would make perfect sense for the price to pull back. It's just that natural capitulation. But the thing you need to recognize is even though the price should pull back, it doesn't mean you want to short into it, okay? Because again, it's inherently more risky to short in general. And then on top of that, it's foolhardy to short into all this bullish momentum, right? We see ridiculous candles here just push the price in either direction. And I can tell you what, it's a crazy market, and it's difficult to find opportunities right now too. So folks, if you're having trouble being trying to feel like you're shaking with your head cut off, join the club. It's completely normal right now. All right, folks, I hope you have had a great learning experience. Thanks again so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, again, make sure you check out Bitunix, link down below for a $12,000 deposit bonus. If you use my link, you'll be automatically eligible for any future trading competition. And last month, we had a $60,000 prize pool, which is pretty awesome. And of course, join us over on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord if you're curious. I have all sorts of social media there flowing your way. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you soon.